Hello, everybody. My name is Kushan Hopkins. I'm an instructional technology specialist from Oklahoma Public School Resource Center, and today I'm here to talk about Seesaw, a sequel to my last Tech Talk. I'm also joined here with my colleague. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Kurt Bernhardt. I'm the Director of Technology for OPSRC. Kushan and I make up the tech team.
That's absolutely right. And you can reach us at techteam@opsrc.net, where we could talk about tech talks, but we can really talk about anything related to technology and in the academic sense there. So yeah, if you want access to these slides here, I got a little link for you. I can copy that. I'm going to read it out since it's case sensitive. So it's lowercase t period ly slash lowercase q, uppercase n, lowercase p, and the number 5 there. You can have access to those slides. I recommend that you do because there's some goodies at the end of these slides, just in case you want to extend your learning or you need to revisit anything that I've talked about. But also another way to do it. And additionally, if you haven't seen my last Seesaw Tech Talk, I recommend you check it out unless you already have a good idea of the basics there. You've maybe even used it for your classroom in there. If you're in that case, then you're in the right place. If not, and if you have no idea what's going on with Seesaw or what it is, go to opsrc.net/tech talks. You can go over there and you can see our upcoming tech talks. We've got Flipgrid and Nearpod on deck coming up. And then if you want, you can suggest a future tech tool, but down over here, we got our archive tech talks. You can access the previous Seesaw or any of the other previous tech talks I've done, either the video or the slides that go with them. So give that a moment, check it out, and then come back to this. And then you can get some extra goodies here. In this particular, the sequel to my Tech Talk, I plan on covering different ways to communicate with groups of people, parents, guardians, through the public on the blog. I think it's one of the things that Seesaw has done very well and also continues to build on, just trying to reach the biggest amount of audience to connect, to create a good community. So, and you can do it through all the wonderful tools that are in there. So I'm going to actually show you an example of it. Seesaw public blog over here. I didn't get a chance to talk about it the first time around, but whenever you have a blog, you have a unique URL that's attached to it. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. On the top right-hand corner, you can see how many posts you have, how many people have visited on here. On the left-hand side over here, you can scroll through and you can kind of hand pick and choose what items show up on here. Or you could even, if you trust your students, you could have them put things up on the blog as well. You will still be able to kind of moderate that, so they're just not putting whatever up there, but it's good stuff to be able to just put out there and showcase student work up where people can access it. On the right-hand side, you can see I have a class list just to kind of keep things confidential. It's only on a first-name basis. It will never show the full thing. And they can search through the calendar so they can know what people are doing on any given day on here. So really nice. And they can even connect through the QR code too as well. There's lots of QR code stuff. I think it's a woefully underused piece of technology there that can be really useful there. But that is just a little bit of the surface on what we are going to get into. So really quick schedule, so I make sure that I stay on time. I'm going to share my objective with you, talk a little bit about technology integration. I like to open up my technology talks with that, just because of the fact that I think it lays the kind of like theoretical foundation on there. It gives us kind of a framework to work through. And it's definitely something that you should just intentionally work into if you're trying to introduce technology into your classroom, because just the mere presence of the technology isn't going to solve any problems for you. You have to really design with the end goal in mind here. Next, I'm going to give just a few arguments on why I think you should use the tool, and I'm going to use it under the frame of the ISTE standards. So good stuff there. I'm going to spend most of my time here with the just kind of showcasing some things that I wasn't able to touch on before in the first Tech Talk I did on Seesaw, but I'll also be going to things like setting up a blog or getting parents, guardians connected in here. So great stuff in there. You want to stay tuned for that. And then finally, as usual, I end with just kind of sharing my resource pages here, call them goodies, and sharing a link to the evaluation. Won't take all that long to do it, and answer any questions that you might have. I'm keeping a little bit of a brisk pace here just to make sure I'm keeping the timing right. So let's jump on in with the objective. What are we learning? After this training, teachers will be able to integrate Seesaw to help students achieve their learning goals. Right over there, always designed with the end goal in mind. And in this case, it can differ from what you want from classroom to classroom, from grade to grade. So it's really something that you have to kind of like settle for yourself, compare it to the standards, and just kind of like bring all that in so you know that if I'm going to bring a piece of technology, it is going to do this. This is what I expect it to do. These are the results that I'm looking out for on here. And that kind of brings me to my next section over here. The question that I just want you and anybody to grapple with is how to integrate technology. There's lots of different ways to answer that. I'm going to recommend the SAMR model. I think it's a very popular model and it's really easy to understand. The basic idea is that it kind of asks the question of what are the different ways that you can implement a piece of technology, and it kind of organizes them into these levels, and how you use it can fit in a single level or it can fit in multiple levels depending on how proficient you are with that piece of technology and how you plan to use it. So there's the substitution phase, which is the lowest phase where you're just using it as a direct substitute for something that you're doing. Once you start taking advantage of the functions of that piece of technology, you're at the augmentation stage. So that's kind of the beginning stages there. And then at the upper levels, kind of the transformational sections here, you have the modification stage, which means you kind of design a task around this piece of technology. It's kind of propping this up. And then at the redefinition stage, that is when you create a task that wouldn't be possible without that tool being into your classroom there. So that's where I try to get people to be at. But if you work at the substitution augmentation stage to start out with, totally fine. It's all about the comfort level of where you are at and where your students are at. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to kind of build that up to the transformation stage. But once you see it realized, you're going to get a lot of value out of your technology tool. And so I'm trying to help people out with that. But it doesn't happen automatically. Typically, it just requires a good stretch of time to kind of work it in there, and that's all right. Additionally, I like to suggest other frameworks that I think are really great. We got the TPAC model on here and the technology integration matrix. If you've never heard of them, I highly recommend that you check both of them out. I particularly really like the technology integration matrix just because of the fact that it really breaks it down and it gives you multiple levels and gives you examples for each one of those levels there. So check them out. Just take a moment. I think it'll be worth your time. Additionally, before I jump into the showcase, I do want to give an argument on why you should use this tool. I think it's in terms of a target audience, I think it's really good for kind of the younger kids on there, and you can kind of see like the basic interface, the creative tools are in there. And there's lots of things to just like make things easy for your students to like log in. It works really well with like Clever if you're already using that, the kind of the single sign-on on there. But additionally on here, I think two things Seesaw does really well is the digital citizenship standard on here, because it gives the students an opportunity to put their work out there, do it intentionally, try to do their best to kind of protect their own personal data, but also, respect other people's work on there. So you have an opportunity, like if you put students' work on a blog, they can receive feedback, they can, and then make adjustments, or you could have maybe do a connected blog scenario where you can have students visit other blogs and make those comments on there. So it's ripe with so many different opportunities for students to interact with each other in a nice, positive, legal, ethical way. And kind of working hand in hand with that is the creative communicator standard on here. So I love the thing that really draws me to Seesaw, that I know I talked very extensively, so I'm not going to talk about it this time around. But the first time around, my big plug was the fact that there's just this multi-tool creative suite on there. And it's fantastic because it not only gives students a bunch of tools, but it also gives them an opportunity to find the right tool for the right job. Sometimes there's just so much stuff out there. There's so much information that you can access on here. And just being able to meaningfully choose the right tool for the right job is so impactful. But yeah, I think it does those two things really well. You might make an argument for the other standards as well, but I know for a fact, these two standards you will definitely be able to meet in terms of the ISTE standards for students. All right, that is enough of me setting things up. Let's jump into Seesaw itself. But let me just kind of close those. I'm already logged in here. Like I said before, I'm making the assumption that you've already kind of used Seesaw, or you at least have some of the basics. Once again, check out the first one if you haven't already. But let me just show off a couple of things that I didn't get a chance to talk to. Like, for example, on the post that you have in your class journal on here, I did mention that you can like and comment on here. You can even leave audio comments in here as well. But one of the things I did not get a chance to talk about here is bottom right-hand corner of the post where you see these 3 dots here. You can see my mouse hovering over it. I can click on this and you have lots of extra options here. Mostly things like edit options you've already done, but a few things I want to highlight here is get post to QR code. Take advantage of these QR codes. This is a way that you can take the digital world and bring it back into the physical world in here. Post these in like different parts of your classroom. Maybe have like an open house situation where you can kind of showcase student work on here. Maybe put a little picture next to it. You can do quite a bit with these QR codes on here. So just kind of pointing that out, giving a little bit of highlight there. Next thing that you could do is share your item. This is a way that you can take you get a unique link for this item or embed code, and you can take this thing that you've made and embed it on a website, or you can share it with other people, and they don't even have to log in. If they have this unique link, they can just see the work right then and there, which is fantastic. Being able to take an opportunity to get student work and showcase that is just such a huge motivational tool and just a huge confidence booster, I think. And I think that's what students really need right now. And of course, you can also save these files. If you click that, it will download a little PNG, or I mean, it kind of depends on the file, but for the most part, it'll download a little photo of the work on here. So there's lots of things that you can still do with these posts after they're done. It's great stuff. On the right-hand side, I know there is a list of the journal. Right now, we're in class journal view right now, and I did show off how to swap between like this full view, or you could switch to date view as well. But additionally, you can click on the names of the students and look at specifically the work that they've done, which is fantastic that you can filter this down. But one little really cool thing that I love to share, it's almost hidden up here, right above here where the you can swap between list and calendar view, you can click on print PDF. And I think this is huge for like parent-teacher conference. You want to show off what your students have been doing to their parents. This is like a built-in showcase is what it is. You can download this PDF and share it with parents, and they can see just all of the work all in one place, and they have QR codes attached to them along with the dates on the top right-hand corner. So fantastic stuff you could do up there. I think it's so cool. Just pointing out one more time up here, right when, and you have to click on a student's individual journal for you to do this. There's no way to do it for the entire classroom, unfortunately. But yeah, once you're in a specific student, click print PDF and you're in the good here. Another thing that I really like to point out is the fact that Seesaw has been trying their best to make their service, their platform more accessible to people who speak different languages on here. I have typed up a little bit of Spanish that I know on this notepad as part of one of the student works. Maybe you have your students type out their notes in their native language so they can kind of work it on that level for them. And so they can kind of work on 2 levels there. But if you're looking through and you know, if your language isn't that good, that's totally fine. But there are translations that you can do. You can see down over here where it says C translation. This will take a look at what is your default language on your computer and translate it to that. So I can take this, click C translation, and it will change it into English. And I can even click on C original to quickly do a switch. Now, this is, you know, when it comes to computer translations, you know, it's not perfect, but at the very least, you get kind of like a Google Translate level of that, and it can be quite useful, especially if you kind of put context clues in there. So lots of little translation tools that you could use. This works for only certain parts of Seesaw, just something to keep in mind. Works for notes, captions, comments, announcements, and messages as well. So if you're like messaging parents, we'll just show you a little bit of that. There's an option for you. Okay, let's go in the big part that I want to get into. Top right-hand corner, I'm going to click on this wrench symbol up here, almost a little bit hidden up there. I'm going to click on that, and it takes me to class settings. A load of goodies in here. So let me try to break a couple down. I have class theme, which you can easily switch the color. So if I don't like this blue, I can swap it to an orange. Maybe, you know, with the seasons changing, it's coming up, it's going to be October. Everybody loves Halloween. Swap it to that pumpkin color just to fit it in there. I can change the class icon. We got a couple of basics up here. I'm partial to the math one, you know, me. But you can also upload a small image on here just to make it a little more personalized, add a little bit of that flavor in there. Next, thing I want to point out is the student sign-in mode. This is something that would have been established when you created your class, but it is something that you don't necessarily have to stick to. On here, I have email Google view, which means students log in using their email address or password, which is great for like students that you can trust with that. If you need to switch it, you can, like you can swap to class code mode, where they're like a one-to-one devices, so everybody has their own and they sign in with like a student code. Or you could have them on a shared device situation where they sign in with the student code, and then they can add their items on the journal and attach that to certain names on there. So you can easily swap these. You just click it. It gives you a little bit of warning first, but then you can go from there. So yeah, you can switch those up if you'd like. Another thing that's available here is home learning student codes. This is great if you're doing Seesaw remotely, because by default on those other sign-in modes that I showed you, students can see everything that happens in the classroom. In this case, it's just kind of like the teacher sees everything, but the student only sees their own work and they log in using these codes. All of that stuff is kind of spelled out for you here. And they even give a little FAQ and some lesson ideas for asynchronous learning on here. So if you're in kind of a situation where you do have to teach remotely, then I highly recommend that you take advantage of these. This is fantastic stuff on here. So if you ever need to talk, if you ever need some more support, Seesaw is really good about it, but you can always talk to me and Kurt about it as well. Okay, let's keep it moving. You can also, if you want to, you can do students can see each other's work. You can turn that off if you like. It's just a little toggle that you can do. So great stuff in there. Now, family access. By default, I believe it's on, but if not, you want to toggle that on so you have access to everything else. And what you can do is you can invite families or guardians, and you can invite them in and attach them to their child. That way they can see specifically their child's work. And it works fantastically, especially if there's multiple classes that the student's in, or if the parent has multiple multiple children in different classes. It works really nice for them because they just have to log in one place, and then they have access to all that stuff that they've been invited to. So just real quick, I'm going to click invite families. You can also click on the bottom right-hand corner, this plus family button here. You can see down over here, but I'm going to click it. And you can invite them by either using an email or a mobile number. You have either one of those. You attach them to students. So you do have to create the student part first. You got to invite them in there, got to get them part of your classroom. And then after that, the next step would be to have the family members get connected on here. I can see the invite status on who's already connected or who I'm still waiting on. So pretty easy from here, but let me show you the real cool thing here. Up here where I see click print invites, sorry, I can click that. The first thing it asks me is select a language. What you can do is get paper versions in different languages here. So you got Spanish, French, German, Chinese, Polish, all that stuff in here, so many different options. And when I select one of those options and click print invites, it will give you a PDF that you can save, and you don't have to print it out. You could just send it out whenever you need it. So this works great for those remote sessions as well, and getting those parents connected to them. See, check that out on there. So really cool stuff. So definitely something you should check out, and it gives parents a way in to see to be have a bigger presence in your classroom on here. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to be real cool, and I'm going to show you the parent view here. So I'm going to go to the top left hand corner. I'm going to click on my name here, and then I'm going to click on this little cog symbol here. I'm going to swap to my family account on here. So I've already kind of I have a separate account and I kind of connect myself as a family member there. So I'm just going to give you a small view of what what the parent looks at. They can either do it through a web browser or they can download the app and get it on their phone as well, or tablet. On here, it has nothing on here, but if they had new things that show up here, but if they click on journals, the second tab at the middle part of my screen, they can see all their children on here. I got 2 children. And when I select a child, I can see all of their classes as well. And they can select whatever classes that they're invited into. And then from there, they can see the work just for that student. So really great things. But here is where I think some of the value is, because the parent can not only look at the student's work, their child's work, but they can comment on it. Down over here, bottom left-hand corner, just like it is on the interface for teachers and students, you can click comment, type in a message, awesome job, one of those, and post it, or I can even click the microphone and I can give a voice message on here. I can click this button, I can start recording, and just think about the student putting their blood, sweat, and tears in your classroom. And then later on, they hear their parent going, man, good job. I'm so proud of you. And putting it out there, that's just such a huge boost for your students, I think. And on top of that, just in case, because you always got to monitor and make sure that you have security on there. All of these comments are pending approval. So it isn't just automatically sent out to the students. You go in there, you can kind of check it out and see if everything's on the level, and then that gets pushed towards the student on there as well. So that's great stuff. Oh boy, okay. If I click on inbox, something that you can do is also private message parents. This is something that you have to initiate. So just something to keep in mind. They don't, by default, teachers can't communicate with you. By default, parents can't communicate with teachers unless teachers send out that first message. So keep that in mind. But once they do, you can start this dialogue from here with the teacher. So all that stuff is real easy. You just navigate through the tabs. It is not hard to use at all. Uh-oh. Shouldn't have deleted that. I forgot that was my window. Hang on. Get that back up there. Okay. I'm going to swap back to teacher view. There's still more goodies to share. And I got about 9 more minutes to share. All right. Top right-hand corner, I'm going to click on the wrench symbol once again. Scroll down to the family view. Now, something to keep in mind, you can manage your families on here. If you ever need to delete somebody off, you can just select manage families, select the student, and adjust from there. So there's always those options to make changes. You can also check out pending family approvals to see if there's anything out there, or you can even adjust the settings like disabling or enabling families the ability to comment or like, or if they require approval. You all have power. It just kind of depends on what the trust level is at for you and the people that you're connecting to your classroom. So keep that in mind. All right, that's parents. One thing that I do want to talk about while we're talking about communication here is on the top right-hand corner, when you click on the big green button that says add, the third option that I never got a chance to talk about is send an announcement. Once you have parents connected to your Seesaw, you do have an option to send announcements, not only to students, but you can send it to all family members, or you can send it to all students and all family members. And this is great because you can type out a message here. You can click plus add an attachment, and you can attach anything out of the creative tool suite on here. And then you can click send now. It's that easy to communicate to people on here. It's fantastic. And all that is saved under inbox. If you click the different filters here, you can see the student announcements. You can see the family announcements on here. You can refer back to them. Or this is also where you can see the private messages as well. I can see that I have 2 options down here of people that I've already talked to. So great stuff in there. And I just want to point it out while I'm here. You can click on notifications. And this is where you can make like approve items that have been pushed through into your classroom as well. So definitely something you should check out. All right, we're doing great. I know I'm kind of going on a breakneck path over here, but there's just all sorts of great stuff on here. And I can't even cover it all, but that's okay. Maybe I'll save it for next time. Top right-hand corner, let's kick the wrench. And let me show you how to go into the class Classroom blog. By default, I believe this one's turned off. So you will have to turn this on. And as soon as you turn it on, it will guide you through the different settings. Now, I've already done it, so I'm going to have to guide through each setting down here just to show you that you can edit them afterwards. First of which is an option that you can consider. Students able to post a blog. It still has to go kind of through that approval process, but you can adjust from here. If I click on blog settings, I can make adjustments like enabling commenting, password protecting the classroom blog, or allowing folders to show up on there. Not a problem. Up next, you want to adjust the appearance. From here, you'll address the blog name. You'll give it a unique blog URL. Like this part right over here, the K Hopkins 1234 is a part of the name. You still have to have that prefix there, that blog.seesaw.me. But after that, you can get this blog URL and keep this blog URL in mind because that is how we do connected blogs, which I'll share in a bit. Next, you can add a description and you can add a header image as well, which we'll see that in a bit. What else we got here? We did appearance. Oh, yes. We're going to view the blog from here. Yes, open the blog. You can access the blog through the class settings or the very last option over here on your toolbar on the right-hand side. You can just click blog and it takes me straight there. So just two different ways that you can access it. And then from here, you can kind of see what your blog looks like. You can see basically everything that I showed you at the very beginning of this Tech Talk. Some extra stuff though. The way that you add items onto the blog, you have to pick and choose what goes on there. So if I go to journal and I scroll down to an item that I want to get pushed down there, that looks fun. I can click on, you'll see that there's a little world symbol on here next to the folder button. So if I click the world symbol, this is already added on there, but if I click on it, it will ask me if I want to publish on the blog and I can put it in there, or I can click that and click remove blog to take it out. Additionally, you should see the same world blog symbol on items on the blog itself as well. Ooh, and something as well, if you hover your mouse over where it says pending approval, you can click the check mark of the trash symbol to do it right there. You don't have to go through extra meetings there. One last thing, I meant menus there, is connected blogs. Bottom right-hand corner, if you click on that, something you can do is connect a blog that way that students can go to their own blog and then go and visit any of the other active blogs out there that's connected on here. The way you can do that is by going up to the wrench symbol, scrolling down to where it says connected blogs, click plus connect to a blog, and then enter in that unique URL that they use to get to it. And that way, students can build from a community starting from your own. It's fantastic stuff that you can do there. So that way, when they visit the blog, they can just go down to connected blogs, click on the blog that's connected to yours, and then they can see what's on there. So it's fantastic stuff to help build just a community of learners there. Ooh, one last thing. I'm going to go back to the wrench. Scroll down the bottom. One last thing to keep in mind is that you can archive your class just in case that, you got another year coming up. You can archive the old stuff where you still have access to it, but it's not in the way. But yeah, I think that's it for right now. First of all, thank you so much for hearing me chat about Seesaw. I could go all day on this, but I'm not. I'm trying to keep the timing tight on this. So few things to point out. On here on this page, the Seesaw Goodie page back on my slides, I have an updated list of resources here. I think these are all great stuff, but one thing I didn't get a chance to point out last time over here is we have a Seesaw course in our LMS Learn Upon. And so if you click on that link on there and then you log in with your credentials, cool stuff. You can have access to a course that combines some videos and some content on there made by yours truly, wink. I think that's worth checking out if you just need a little bit more guidance on getting Seesaw into your classroom. It is kind of basic or more basic stuff. So, just check it out. See if you'll like it. And I have other resources in there as well, especially the one that's like apps that are compatible with Seesaw. Definitely check that out, especially if you like things like, Flipgrid. There's just lots of things that Seesaw, it's been around for a while and they're trying to get their stuff as connected and integrated as possible. The next page is dedicated to technology integration. I talked about the SAML model, but it's not the only model out there. And in fact, it might not even be the best model for you. So check out the TPAC framework. I recommend that you do. And the technology integration matrix. That one is phenomenal. Just please check it out so you can see the way that the matrix works. It's super cool. And that brings me to my last page. A huge thank you for anybody that's watching this or here right now. I did leave a link for the evaluation. Please, it's a one-pager, just a couple of questions, a few clicks there, and you'll be done. And it helps us out tremendously to make these Tech Talks even better. So just to read this out, lowercase t, period, ly, / lowercase g, z as in zebra, uppercase K. That's how you can get to it. Just as a reminder, I've been Kashawn Hopkins. I'm joined here with Kurt Bernhardt. Together, we make the technology team, which you can reach out to us at techteam@opsrc.net. I have a link to the slides, but definitely check out opsrc.net/techtalks. There's all sorts of goodies up there, and it will grow in size in time. There's some exciting stuff coming up, but you'll just have to wait until next time to see them. Other than that, yeah, just one last thank you, everybody, and I'll take questions.